Hello students, welcome to SGC online classes. Today let me continue with lecture number 3 in principles of inheritance and variation. In the previous class, second lecture, I was telling you about Mendelian principles and even Mendelian experiments in pea plant we were discussing in the previous class. In the pea plant, Mendel took 7 characters and 14 traits we have seen. And when experiments were conducted by Mendel, he concentrated on only one particular character in a given time. That is one advantage of Mendelian experiment. Why he concentrated on only one character means it will clearly show us what is the particular pattern of inheritance with reference to that one character, so that all other characters do not contaminate that inheritance, or all other characters do not influence that particular character. So at a given time, Mendel concentrated on only one character. When a hybridization cross is made between the plants of only one character, that will be called as monohybrid cross. We are telling you this type of cross is called as monohybrid cross. So what is a monohybrid cross means? It is the cross between two plants which are differing in only one particular character, that is called as monohybrid cross. They differ in only one particular character. In all other 6 characters, those pea plants were resembling each other. So, when Mendel took height as a character for his study, he wanted to study how the height character is inherited from generation to generation. He wanted to study. For that, he took 2 traits of the height. You may be recalling there are 2 traits for the height. One is called dwarf, another one is called as tall. So, tall and dwarf are the traits. Height is the character. So with one character, Mendel started to study the pattern of inheritance. When a tall plant is crossed with a dwarf plant, one of them was taken as a female plant, another one is taken as a male plant. Since Pisum sativum is a bisexual plant, in a female plant, emasculation was done. And the previous classes, I told you what is emasculation. Removal of anther so that it won't self-pollinate, then only gynoecium will remain functional. Such a flower will be called as female flower. When tall and dwarf plants were crossed, for the surprise of Mendel, he got in the first generation all tall varieties only were produced. All the offsprings produced in the first generation were tall only. No dwarfness was appeared. And no dwarfness was appearing there. Not only that, there was no intermediary height and other things also. So all the offsprings of first generation were tall only. When 2 such tall varieties were crossed with each other, or when 2 such first generation offsprings were self-pollinated, they produced second generation here. Remember, when Mendel got second generation offspring, he got both tall and dwarf in the pea plants. Both tall and dwarf pea plants were appearing in the second generation in the ratio of 3:1. This is the basic outline of Mendelian monohybrid cross with reference to height in Pisum sativum. With the same motive, he conducted the experiment, monohybrid crosses with all the 7 characters. In each character, there was 3:1 in the F2 generation or second generation. In the first generation, one of the characters did not appear. In the second generation, both the parental characters appeared in 3:1 ratio. Now based on this, Mendel got 2 questions. One is why pea plant did not appear, or why dwarfness did not appear in the first generation. Why one of the characters did not appear in, one of the traits did not appear in the first generation? That is one question. Second one is how that dwarfness appeared in the second generation, even though it was not taken as a parent for second generation. It was not taken as a parent here. Only F1 offsprings were taken as parent. But still, dwarfness has come in the second generation. How it has come? For these two questions, Mendel did some analysis, then he put forward two theories. Those two theories we are going to discuss here. Before going in detail about these two theories, just in the previous class I was telling you about some terminologies. Let us recall those terminologies again. This is purposely I am repeating this part because it is most important part in genetics. Terminologies in genetics we are going to see in today's class. Without understanding the terminologies, there is no use of continuing further in this topic. So, let us see what are the terminologies related here. In the previous class, I told you the first terminology which you have to remember is called gene. The word gene we have to remember here. Yesterday I told you, in the previous class I told you, gene was coined by Johansson. The term was coined by Johansson. And gene can be defined as the hereditary unit of a living organism. It is the unit of heredity or physical and structural unit of heredity is called gene, we can say. Where is this gene located? It is located in our chromosomes, remember. You may recall, based on your first year lesson biomolecules, that the chromosomes are made up of nucleic acid called DNA. So, gene is located or gene is made up of DNA. And the DNA is made up of nucleotides. Remember these words, nucleotides. Nucleotides, group of nucleotides will form a DNA. In that DNA, a segment of DNA will be called as a gene, remember. So structurally speaking, the gene is nothing but a segment of DNA. Functionally speaking, it is the hereditary unit of an organism. That gene is responsible for transmitting the characters from the parents to the children or to the offspring. How the gene is transmitting the characters? Because it is made up of nucleotides, I told you. These nucleotides can express themselves by producing some proteins, and those proteins will give us the different characters like eye color, height of the parent, or hair nature, like that. So, nucleotides are guiding the process of protein. Protein will express, it will lead to the physical expression of an individual. This is the way of functioning of the gene. How a gene functions means it will control the process of protein in our body, protein synthesis in our body, and those proteins will be helping for expressing a particular characters morphologically or externally. So that is the outline about the gene. But one thing is, Mendel was not aware of this word gene during his time. Instead of the word gene, Mendel used the term factor for explaining this gene, remember. So gene and factor are synonyms only. The word gene was coined by Johansson, factor was coined by Mendel, remember. Let us see the second terminology which I explained you in the previous class, that is alleles. Alleles are very important and somewhat confusing terminology in genetics. Alleles are otherwise called as allelomorphs also. Alleles are otherwise called as allelomorphs. What are these allelomorph means? One interesting point here is a gene, when it is undergoing evolution or when time is passing, the gene can undergo some modification. A gene can undergo modification in itself. Its nucleotides may be rearranged and that will result in its variant forms. A modified forms of a gene can be called as a allele or what is that, allelomorph we can say. So a gene does not remain as it is for several years. During evolution, it will undergo some variation, it will undergo some modification. That modification happening in the gene, it will result in different forms of that particular gene. Those different forms of that particular forms of a particular gene will be called as allele. So allele is nothing but alternate form of a gene. We can remember this definition. Allele is nothing but alternate form of a gene. So any gene need not remain as it is for several generations or several years. They may undergo some change, and those changed versions are called alleles or alternate form of a gene. For example, the height is represented by a gene means it will undergo modification, it will produce tall and dwarf variant. So these two are called traits, I told you, and those traits are represented by allelomorphs. Remember, yesterday I gave you some examples also. A hero can perform 2 or 3 different roles in the same film. Just like that, a gene can exist in different forms in a population. If you come across human population, there are many varieties of blood groups. Around 4 major types of blood groups are there. Those blood groups are possible because of the variation or because of the mutation or modification happening in the blood group gene. So character blood group is occurring in 4 different forms. That is called allele or allelomorph. It is very basic information. Just I am repeating this purposely. Now let us come to some more terminologies related to genetics in this lecture. Listen to me. Before going in detail about other things, you must recall one point, what is called as locus. We have to see. Locus. Locus or loci, it can be called in the plural, remember. What is a locus means? The term locus denotes location of a gene in the chromosome. Location of a particular gene in a chromosome is called as locus, remember. So in a chromosome, I told you already, it is made up of DNA. A segment of DNA can become a gene, we have seen. Now remember, in a chromosome, there may be many segments. This may be one segment, this is another segment, third, like that. Many segments can be observed. Each one will be behaving like a gene, we can say here. This location, this particular position where a gene is located in the chromosome, that position is called as locus of a gene. Otherwise, locus in a chromosome represent the place in which a particular gene is located. So the location of a gene in a chromosome is called a locus. One chromosome can contain many genes in it. This may be the gene for eye color, imagine. This may be the gene for height. This may be the gene for blood group, or this may be the gene for hair nature, we can say here. Like that, many genes can be located in a particular chromosome. We have 46 chromosome or 23, a particular set of chromosome means in each of them many such locations can be found. That group of locus will be called as loci. In singular we use the term locus. In plural we use the term loci, remember. So what is locus? It is the location of a gene in a chromosome. Where a particular gene is located in a chromosome, that position is called as locus, remember. Now let us come to another point with reference to locus here. What are called homologous chromosomes? Another important terminology we have to recall. In first year cell division chapter, especially in meiosis and all, you could have come across this word homologous chromosome. What is a homologous chromosome? Remember, here also you can just remember this word logos or locus in this condition. What is a homologous chromosome means? Homologous chromosome refers to a pair of chromosomes in which one is paternal and another one is maternal. A pair of chromosomes having alleles of the same characters. A pair of chromosomes having alleles of same, a pair of chromosomes having alleles of same characters, that will be called as a homologous chromosome, we can say. Just let me explain this point very clearly here. Imagine now, in human beings, there are 46 chromosomes present in each cell. Yesterday I told you about this one also. These 46 chromosomes are, each cell is containing 46 chromosomes. These cells are derived from a zygote, you may be remembering. How the zygote is getting 46 chromosome means 23 are obtained from father and 23 are obtained from mother, remember. Out of 46 chromosomes in a zygote, 23 are obtained from male parent or father, another 23 are obtained from female parent or mother. The 23 chromosomes obtained from father is called as paternal chromosomes, remember, paternal set. This 23 can be called as paternal set, which is represented as N here. The another 23 obtained from mother, that is called maternal set, it can be called. It is called as maternal set or another N we can say here. The group of paternal and maternal sets will be together called as 2N condition or otherwise diploid condition we can say here. So, during sexual reproduction, father contributes 23 chromosomes through sperms or gametes. Mother contributes 23 chromosomes through ovum or egg. Now the zygote obtains 46 chromosomes. We get two sets of chromosomes, remember. Among these two sets of chromosomes, just to recall this point, imagine this is the first paternal chromosome, this is second paternal chromosome, third paternal chromosome, like that 23 paternal chromosomes we are receiving through the sperm. Similarly, this is first maternal chromosome, imagine, second maternal chromosome, third maternal chromosome, like that 23 maternal chromosomes we receive from the mother also. Now you see, the first paternal and first maternal chromosomes are called as homologous chromosome to each other. First paternal will be homologous to first maternal. Second paternal will be homologous to second maternal. Third paternal will be homologous to third maternal. 14th paternal will be homologous to 14th maternal. Like that, they are a pair of chromosomes having alleles of same character. That is called homologous. Why they are called alleles of same character means what? Imagine now, in the first paternal chromosome, if father's hair nature allele is present, he may have curly hair, that hair nature allele is present means. In the mother also, her hair nature character will be present on first maternal only. So, if hair nature character is present in first paternal, mother will also have hair nature character in the first maternal only, not in second maternal, third maternal, like that. So please remember, these are a pair of chromosomes which have alleles of same character. Another example I will tell you, in the second paternal, imagine, if height gene is present means, in mother's set also, maternal set also, second paternal only will have height, second maternal only will have height gene. So they are called a pair of chromosomes having alleles of the same character. It is not that first paternal will have eye color, third maternal will have eye color, like that. Both a pair of chromosomes having alleles of same character will be called as homologous chromosome. So, four important terminologies basically we have to understand. What is a gene? It is the hereditary unit Where is it located? It is located in the chromosome. That position of location of a gene is called that locus. In plural it can be called loci. Each chromosome need not have only one gene. It can have many genes in it. So that is called loci. Then I told you what is a homologous chromosome. It refers to a pair of chromosomes having say alleles of same character. A pair of chromosomes having alleles of same character. First paternal will be homologous to first maternal. Second paternal will be homologous to second maternal. Why? If eye color of the father is present in the second paternal, mother's eye color will also be present in second maternal only, not in third maternal or 22nd maternal, like that. So they are called as homologous chromosomes. Gene we know now, alleles you may be recalling, and locus, then what is that? Homologous chromosome. So these homologous chromosomes, why we are insisting means they play an important role during inheritance. Even in first year you have studied about meiosis also, where the homologous chromosome will separate from each other, like that 2n condition will become n once again because of meiosis. But here zygote is producing same equal number of chromosomes only. That is called mitosis. Zygote is formed. Zygote is becoming an organism by repeated mitosis. But the haploid, this set of sperm is formed by meiosis. Ovum is formed by meiosis. So gametes are formed by meiosis. During that time, homologous chromosomes separate. Let us continue about all these points with reference to homologous chromosome and genes, everything. Just I will give you half-minute time. Make note of these points. Just jot down these points. Then we will go for some other terminologies. Okay, students, I hope you might have written these terms. We have seen about gene definition, alleles definition, what is a locus, what are homologous chromosomes. A pair of chromosomes having alleles of same character will be called as homologous chromosomes. Homologous chromosomes play an important role during inheritance as well as during cell division. So with this basic information, let me add some more terminologies with reference to genetics here. Let us go to the fifth terminology in this case. What is called as homozygosity we have to recall. Homozygosity. Homologous is different, homozygosity is different. Homozygosity means it is a condition, the condition in which similar alleles are present, in which similar alleles are present, alleles are present in the homologous pair of chromosome, in a homologous pair of chromosome. The homologous pair of chromosome has similar alleles in them means then it will be called as homozygosity. Very important definition. In one mark question it is asked often also. It is the condition in which, or it is a condition in which similar alleles are present in a homologous pair of chromosome. Please listen. Imagine this is the first paternal chromosome. This is the first maternal chromosome. If both the chromosomes are having similar alleles in them, for example, Father is also having curly hair, which is represented as C here. Mother is also having curly hair, means both are having similar alleles in them. Are you getting this point? Father is also tall. Let me represent it as capital T. Mother is also tall. Let me represent it as another capital T. If two similar alleles are present in a pair of homologous chromosomes, then that condition will be called as homozygosity. You may recall that word homo. Homo refer to similar. So similar alleles are present in the pair of homologous chromosomes. Occurrence of similar alleles representing a particular character in the homologous pair is called homozygosity. So I can say that capital T I am writing for an individual means its paternal allele is also capital T, maternal allele is also capital T. If I write a small t, that is also homozygosity only. Father is also dwarf, mother is also dwarf, means it will be homozygosity. If both are having A group only, A blood group only, means homozygosity. For example, okay, the homozygosity like that. So, homozygosity refers to a condition in which similar alleles are present in a homologous pair of chromosomes. That is another point we have to, another terminology you have to remember. Because in the future classes, we will be using the term homozygous, heterozygous and all. Let me go to the next terminology in related to this genetics. Heterozygosity we are going to see here. Heterozygosity. From the name itself you can understand. It is also a condition. It is a condition in which dissimilar alleles are present. In which dissimilar alleles are present. In which dissimilar alleles are present in a pair of homologous chromosomes. In a homologous pair of chromosomes, that will be called as heterozygosity. It is the condition in which dissimilar alleles are present in a pair of homologous chromosomes. That is called hetero. What is hetero? Dissimilar. Homo means similar, hetero means dissimilar. In heterozygosity, a pair of homologous chromosomes we are taking, but they will differ in their alleles. Please listen. Let me tell you, this as the first paternal chromosome. This is the first maternal chromosome. Since they are first paternal, first maternal, they are homologous. Now you see, if father is tall and mother is a dwarf, then it will become a condition called capital T, small t. This condition is called heterozygosity. Remember, if it is capital T, it is homozygosity. Small t will be homozygous. But father is tall, mother is short or dwarf, means it will become heterozygous. Mother will contribute only small t. Father will contribute only capital T. But the zygote will get both capital T and small t, it will inherit. That condition in which dissimilar alleles are present in the homologous pair of chromosome is called heterozygosity. Father may have curly hair, mother may have straight hair. So one is capital C, another one is small c. Just for the convenience we are writing like this. If two dissimilar alleles are present, then it is called heterozygosity. Why I am calling them as alleles? Because both are representing height only. Whether it is 1 meter height or 0.5 meter height, it is height only. So whether it is capital T or small t, they represent height only. So alternate form of the same character they are. That's why they are called alleles. Two dissimilar alleles are present in the homologous chromosome. I hope you get this point. We are talking about one character but two different alleles. Here also we are talking about one character but similar alleles. Similar alleles of a character are present with that condition is called homozygous. Homozygosity. Dissimilar alleles of a character are present means that condition is called heterozygosity. Remember this point. So, gene we have seen, alleles we have seen, then homologous locus we have seen, homologous pair of chromosomes we saw here, homozygosity, heterozygosity, some 6 terminologies we have seen so far. Let me come to some other terminologies also. Please listen. The next terminology here is what is called dominant gene or what is called dominance and recessive we are going to see here. A dominant gene or a dominant allele we have to see here. What is the dominant gene or allele means? You see, when two different alleles are representing a character, when two different alleles are representing a character, only one will be expressed. A character, only one of them will be expressed. Only one of them will be expressed morphologically. That condition is called dominant gene or otherwise dominant allele it can be called. Only one of them will be expressed morphologically and other one will not be expressed. That is called as a dominant gene. Whichever is expressed morphologically, that is called a dominant gene. Same example let us take here. For example, imagine this is the first paternal chromosome. This is the first maternal chromosome. Here, father's hair nature is straight hair. Let me represent it with a small capital C like this. Mother's hair nature is small c. She has got curly hair. So father has got straight hair, mother has got curly hair, and when the zygote gets both these alleles, it will receive both capital C and small c. But when the zygote is growing or developing further into an organism, that organism will not show both the hairs. Try to get this point. The child's head, it will not half side curly hair, half side straight hair like that. It won't be expressed. It will express any one character or any one expression only. Either it will have straight hair or sometimes it can have curly hair also. Otherwise, it will exhibit any one of them will only. So that one allele which is expressed morphologically is called dominant allele, and the other allele which is not expressed. For example, if the child has got a straight hair means, then that straight hair is called dominant gene. If the child does not, that curly gene is not expressed means, curly hair is called as a recessive gene we can say here. So next terminology I am going to tell you here is recessive allele. Same definition but with some modification we are writing. When two different alleles are representing a character, one of them will not be expressed. One of them will not be expressed. One of them will not be expressed and the morphologically. That is called as recessive allele. Try to get this point. When curly hair, when straight hair is expressed, then it is dominant. Then curly hair is called a recessive allele. You are getting capital T small t and you are becoming tall means dwarfness will be called a recessive allele and height, otherwise tallness is called a dominant allele. So these are two more terminologies we have to remember. Dominant gene means when two different alleles are representing a character, only one of them will be expressed morphologically and that is called as dominant allele. When two different alleles are representing a character, one of them will not be expressed That is called recessive allele, remember. So, I have told you about gene, allele, locus, homologous chromosome, homozygosity, heterozygosity, dominant allele, recessive allele, like that, various terminologies. Just make note of these definitions, which are worth of, each one is worth of 1 mark in the board exam also. And there may be some confusing statement related to this homozygous, heterozygous and all within the NEET exam also. So please remember, zygosity refers to allelic condition. Logous refers to chromosome. Homologous chromosome is different. Homozygous condition is different. Homologous chromosome means a pair of chromosomes having same characters. Paternal, first maternal are homologous, but they need not have similar allele. One can have capital T, other one can have small t. Then it will become heterozygous condition like that. So please make note of the homologous chromosome, homozygosity, heterozygosity, everything. The homologous refers to chromosome, homozygous, heterozygous refers to alleles present in them. With reference to alleles, we use the term zygosity. With reference to chromosome nature, we use the term logos like that. Just make note of these definitions. I will continue. I hope we might have written various definitions and various terminologies related to genetics. Further, in continuation of these terminologies, let me tell you few more terminologies here. So we are seeing about different terminologies related to genetics. Already we have seen gene, we know what is allele, we know what are homologous chromosome, and we know homozygosity. In addition to that, we have to recall heterozygosity here. Apart from that, I told you what is called the dominant allele, what is called recessive allele, everything we have seen. So these are various terminologies we have seen so far. In addition to this, let me tell you two more terminologies. You must know what is called as phenotype and what is called as genotype. We have to see phenotype and genotype. Remember, the word phenotype refers to morphological expression of a character, morphological expression of genes with reference to a particular character is called, with reference to a character will be called as phenotype. Morphological expression of genes with reference to a character is called phenotype. Please listen, it will be somewhat difficult to understand. We already told you, when there is a condition with dissimilar alleles, that is heterozygosity. Capital T is also there, small t is also there. The resulting individual or the offspring will be tall only, we are telling. It is tall only, it will not show any indication of dwarfness. Even though it has received small t gene from the maternal side, it is not expressing the character. Why means it is due to the dominant allele. Capital T dominates and it becomes the tallness. So inside you may have capital T and small t, but outside what character you are expressing? You are expressing only one of this character. That means tallness, only one trait you are expressing. So morphological expression of genes, who is expressing among them? Whether capital T is expressed morphologically or small t is expressed morphologically, that becomes the phenotype. The word phenotype refers to morphological expression of a character or morphological expression of genes or alleles with reference to a particular character is called phenotype. Similarly, opposite to this is called genotype. What is this genotype means? It is not morphological expression. It is called as genetic makeup of an individual. Genetic makeup of an individual with reference to a particular character. Genetic makeup of an individual with reference to a particular character is called as this genotype, we can say. So remember, internally you are having capital T and small t, but externally you are expressing tallness only. You cannot behave both tall and dwarf, or you need not behave intermediate like that. I am not only talking about human beings. In human beings we come across intermediate height also, intermediate heights. That is due to various other conditions. Just imagine about pea plant. In pea plant there are only two contrasting traits. Either they will grow tall up to some 2 meters or 1.5 meter like that, or they will grow very short, 0.5. There are no intermediate condition. Either they will produce, for example, round seed. Even though it may have both capital T, capital R and small r, the seed will be round shape only. It will not become half side round and half side wrinkle like that. It won't become. It will exhibit any one character only. So whichever character is expressed morphologically, it is called phenotype. But internally you are having both alleles you may have. Internally you may have capital R, small r, but externally you are showing only roundness only. That means internal arrangement of gene is called genotype. External expression of a gene is called phenotype. I hope you got this point. Morphological or external expression of a gene with reference to a character is called phenotype. Whereas genetic makeup means what? Whether it is made up of capital T, small t or capital R, small r, that internally what is there? That homozygosity or heterozygosity we are talking here. It may be homozygous condition or it may be heterozygous condition. That condition is called as genotype, we can say. So when an organism is tall, it can be either capital T, or it can be capital T, small t also. If a pea plant is tall, remember, capital T will also express as tall only. Capital T, small t will also express as tallness only. So internally what is present, whether they are similar alleles or dissimilar alleles, we do not know. Externally what is expressed, we can visualize, we can see it. Externally it is tall. Internally either homozygous or heterozygous it may be. So when a seed produced by a pea plant is round, either it can have capital R condition, or it can have capital R, small r condition also. So even though small r is there, it is not expressed. Why? Because it is recessive. So here capital R is expressed as a round condition. This is homozygous round, this is heterozygous round. Both are round only. But its zygosity internal arrangement is there. What is inside? That is called genotype. What is expressed? That is called phenotype. Remember. So phenotype is morphological expression of genes with reference to a particular character. Genotype is genetic makeup of an individual with reference to a particular character. So that genetic makeup can be either homozygous or heterozygous. So here also either capital R or small r capital R. That is what is the genetic makeup and phenotype, genotype. So in addition to these terminologies, we have learnt now what is a phenotype and what is a genotype also. So these are some of the terminologies. Apart from this, already we have seen some point. What is a monohybrid cross? You have to know monohybrid or cross, monohybrid cross. It is a hybridization cross between it is the hybridization cross between two individuals with reference to only one particular characters. With reference to only one particular character is called as monohybrid cross. As I was telling you about Mendelian principle, Mendelian experiment, I told you about this monohybrid cross. Listen, it is the hybridization cross between two individuals with reference to one particular character. You can concentrate only on height, then it will become monohybrid cross. You can concentrate only on the shape of the pod, it will become monohybrid cross. You can concentrate only on the color of the flower, then it will become a monohybrid cross. In a given time, if you are concentrating on only one particular character, that will be called as a monohybrid cross. The resulting offspring of this cross, the offspring resulted from this crossing, that is called as the resulting offspring of monohybrid cross is called as a monohybrid. Remember. So what is a monohybrid? It is the resulting offspring formed from a monohybrid cross. So when you take only one character and study its pattern of inheritance, it is known as monohybrid cross. Similarly, what is a dihybrid cross also you can remember. From the name itself you can understand it is a dihybrid. Di means two. It is a hybridization cross between two individuals, with reference to two different characters. Two different characters. I am not talking about two different traits. I am talking about two different characters. For example, if you take height as well as the shape of the seed and perform a cross, then it will be called as dihybrid cross. For example, if I am mentioning a pea plant as a tall round plant means, what is the meaning? With reference to height it is tall. With reference to shape of the seed it is round. So I am taking two characters. One is height, another one is shape of the seed. So when you perform a cross between two individuals with reference to two characters, then it will be called as a dihybrid cross. You can name now what is a dihybrid. A dihybrid is nothing but the resulting offspring. The resulting offspring of a dihybrid cross is called as what is that? A dihybrid. Resulting offspring of a monohybrid cross is called monohybrid. Resulting offspring of a dihybrid cross is called trihybrid. Now the students, you can remember what is a trihybrid cross, you can recall tetrahybrid, pentahybrid like that. When we perform a cross with reference to three different characters, not three different traits, three different characters, remember, then it will be called as what are the tri-hybrid cross. Characters are taken, of course one trait will be expressed there, but characters are considered here. Height of the plant, shape of the seed, color of the seed, like that. Or height of the plant, position of the flower, and color of the shape of the pod, like that we can take. In all other respect, they are resembling each other. When you perform a dihybrid cross, out of 7 characters of Pisum sativum, only 2 characters are taken for consideration. In remaining 5 characters, they will be similar to each other only. They don't differ. Then only you can study the perfect pattern of 2 character inheritance there. So it is monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross also. How many terminologies I told you so far? Means I think around 8, 9, 10, 11 characters. We have 11 terminologies we have seen. Gene, it is a segment of DNA. It is the vehicle of inheritance. It was coined by Johansson. Allele, it is the alternative form of a gene formed due to mutation or variation. Homologous chromosome, a pair of chromosomes having the alleles of same character, same position, that will be called homologous chromosome. They will have alleles of same characters in them. First paternal will be homologous to first maternal. Second paternal will be homologous to second maternal. Like that, they are called homologous pair. Homozygosity, it is the condition in which similar alleles are present in the pair of homologous chromosomes. If first paternal and first maternal both are having capital T or both are having small t, then it will be called homozygosity. Heterozygosity, it is the condition in which a pair of homologous chromosomes will have dissimilar alleles. Paternal has got capital T, maternal has got small t, means it is called heterozygosity. Dominant allele, the allele which is expressed in the hybrid is called dominant allele. Even though we get both the alleles, only one will be expressed morphologically, that allele is called dominant allele. Recessive allele, the allele which is not expressed morphologically, it is present there, but it is not expressed morphologically, that is called a recessive allele. What is phenotype? It is the morphological expression of genes with reference to a character. Here remember that word character, with reference to a particular character only we are talking. How it is expressed height wise, how it is expressed shape wise, that is called with reference to a character. But internally it may look different, externally it may be tall, but internally it will be having either 2 similar alleles or 2 dissimilar alleles. Are you getting this point? Either homozygosity or heterozygosity will be called as a genotype. Internally, whether they are homozygous or heterozygous, that is called genotype, remember. Then I told you what is a monohybrid cross, what is a dihybrid cross. The hybridization cross between 2 individuals with reference to only one character is called a monohybrid cross, and the resulting offspring is called as a monohybrid. The hybridization cross between 2 individuals with reference to 2 different characters, height and shape, 2 different characters, height and color, 2 different characters, color and shape, 2 different characters, then it will be called as a dihybrid cross, and the resulting offspring is called as a dihybrid. You can understand this point. The difference between heterozygosity and dihybrid, do you get this meaning? Heterozygosity refers to allele nature, whether 2 different alleles we are talking. Dihybrid, 2 different characters. Tall and dwarf are different forms of the same character. but height and shape are two different characters. They are not alternate forms. They are two different characters. So two different character means dihybrid. Two different alleles means heterozygosity. This is about allelic composition. This is about character, nature of character or number of characters we can see. So make note of these points. Very important terminology, around 11 terminologies I told you so far in this class. Gene, allele, homologous chromosome, homozygosity, heterozygosity, dominant allele, recessive allele, phenotype, genotype, monohybrid, dihybrid. Okay. Recall these differences, write in your notebook. Each one is important for one mark question in the board exam. In a NEET exam, there can be changes in the definitions also. As I told you, the difference between heterozygosity and dihybrid you have to understand. Difference between phenotype and genotype you have to understand. Make note of this point. I will give you 1 minute time. Just continue this point. Write down these points. Students, I hope we might have completed this. Today you have to study all these definitions. These are basic definitions related to genetics. Without understanding these definitions, it will be very difficult to understand the further classes. So let us, after knowing about all these definitions, let us recall what Mendel did in pea plant. Mendelian monohybrid cross, let me recall once again. Then we will apply these terminologies for that Mendelian cross. So in monohybrid cross, it is nothing but the one gene inheritance it can be called. Here in monohybrid cross, we are going to study about inheritance pattern of only one gene. Height gene we are taking and studying about the inheritance pattern of that height gene only. That is called one gene inheritance. Whereas a dihybrid cross can be called as a two gene inheritance cross, where you will be taking two different genes. That means height and shape and color, like that it will be different. In one gene inheritance, I told you, when Mendel crossed a tall plant with a dwarf plant, in the first generation he got all tall varieties only. When two such tall varieties are crossed for second generation, these are parents, means this will be children, this will be grandchildren. The grandchildren will be like both tall and dwarf. In which ratio they have been formed? In 3:1 ratio. So this is the basic outline of Mendelian experiment. Here we got two doubts. Why dwarfness did not appear in the first generation? How it has appeared in the second generation? We have to see. This why and how we have to answer. For that, Mendel proposed some laws. Mendelian laws I am going to discuss here. Actually, there are three important laws given by Mendel. But before that, one more point also we have to remember. First law of Mendel is known as law of unit characters, we have to say. Recall this point also. But in some of the book, this is not considered as a Mendelian law. But still let us remember law of unit characters. What is this law of unit characters? According to Mendel, every individual or every offspring will receive two factors for a particular character. There will be, for every character, there will be two factors in an individual. So each character is represented by two factors in every individual according to law of unit characters. Each character is represented by two factors. That is what we have seen in the sexual reproduction. I told you in sexual reproduction, paternal gene will be coming to the offspring and maternal gene will be coming to the offspring. These are two genes coming to the same offspring. So an offspring will receive two genes for a particular character. For father's height gene will also come, mother's height gene will also come to the child, offspring. Similarly, that instead of gene, Mendel used the word factors. He told that for every character there will be two factors in an individual. For example, shape of the seed means, if you take the shape of the seed means, it will be represented by two factors, namely capital or small r. Or one is round, another one is wrinkled, we can see. If you take color of the flower means, color of flower, it will be represented by two things. One is violet color, another one is this white color, like that. So color of the flower, two conditions we can say. If you take position of the flower, it will receive two factors. Position of flower, terminal position may be there, axial position may be there, or terminal, let us take like this, means axial small a we can take. Height of the plant means height of the stem or length of the stem, if you take means it will be represented by two factors. One is capital T, another one is small t, like that. One is tall, another one is dwarf. So for each character, 7 characters were studied by Mendel. For all these characters, for each character, there will be two alleles. Those alleles are called factors, we are telling. So let me stop with this in today's class. It is about law of unit character. Then we will see in the next class law of dominance and law of segregation. All these things in the remaining classes we shall continue. Mendelian law, I told you one point. Since Mendel was not aware of the term gene, he used the term factor for representing law of unit character. This is called unit character. Okay. Every individual has got two genes for a particular character. Let us continue later in the next class. Please go through these terminologies. Try to be familiar with these terminologies, without which further classes will be not understood. Okay. So please take care. Stay home. Thank you very much.